Everyone knows that Bridgerton Season 4 is a retelling of Cinderella. But what if I told you it's also reminding me a lot of The Little Mermaid? Yes, the opening scenes with the masquerade ball are absolutely Cinderella, and so is Sophie's family situation. She's an orphan living with her stepmother, previously living a life of luxury but now forced to work as a maid. Until one night she sneaks away to go to a ball that she's been forbidden from going to. She meets a man there, they're clearly drawn to each other, but she runs off right at midnight, leaving him with just a glove in place of a glass slipper as a clue to her identity. But that's almost the end of Cinderella's story, and it's only where Bridgerton Season 4 begins. As I watched Benedict's search for the Lady in Silver, and his interactions with Sophie when he meets her as herself, I was reminded of an entirely different fairy tale, The Little Mermaid. And I think the show kind of sees it as well. There are two small details that make me think this. First of all, Posy, Sophie's more sympathetic stepsister, her masquerade ball costume is a mermaid. And then, secondly, Sophie's dress that she wears to the ball, it's not only highly reminiscent of Cinderella's gown from the Disney movie, it also looks a little bit like Ariel's from the end of the Disney movie when she's reunited with Prince Eric and can stay on land indefinitely. Part of that could just be that the Regency silhouette didn't have a poofy skirt, but still, I think the resemblance is there. Think about it for a moment from Benedict's point of view. He has a life-changing encounter with a young woman who he doesn't get a clear look at. He then spends a lot of time searching for that woman, but she's nowhere to be found. Instead, he ends up spending a lot of time with the exact same woman, but he doesn't have a clue that they're the same person. She clearly has feelings for him, and he reciprocates, but he's still looking for the elusive Lady in Silver, or, in Prince Eric's case, for the woman who saved him from drowning. So essentially, both Prince Eric and Benedict end up in a love triangle where the other two people in it are actually the same person. And then from Sophie's point of view, there's no sea witch, but there is a young woman longing to be part of a world that she's told she has no place in. She ventures there without permission, and she falls in love with a man who's on the opposite side of a seemingly impossible divide. One of the big problems in Bridgerton Season 4 that's an obstacle to the characters getting together is that Benedict and Sophie are not of the same social class, and it would be scandalous for a gentleman, the younger brother of a viscount, to marry a servant. There's nothing along those lines in Disney's Little Mermaid. Ariel is a princess, and while Eric doesn't necessarily know that when he meets her, nobody really questions his right to marry whoever he chooses. However, something similar does actually come up in the older version by Hans Christian Andersen, where the prince is betrothed to a princess he's never met. Now, he ends up mistakenly believing that the princess was actually the woman who saved his life, but if that didn't happen, and he correctly recognized that it was the mermaid, the shipwreck survivor who he doesn't really know is a mermaid, then it would probably be a big scandal for him to dump the princess he's been betrothed to for a long time for a random shipwreck survivor. Even in the Disney version, where there's not the class divide or the expectation that he'll marry someone else out of a sense of duty, there's still the fact that they're from two different worlds, and that does form still a major part of the conflict, because how can a mermaid and a human be together when they can't live in the same world? Very literally. In the same way, the classes in Bridgerton's society, and really in the real Regency period as well, form that same kind of divide where she can't really exist in his world except on the periphery of it as a servant, and it would mean giving up status and respect from society if he were to truly pursue his feelings for her and try to marry her. So basically what I'm getting at is that Bridgerton Season 4 may start as Cinderella, but as it progresses, it incorporates a lot of the ideas of The Little Mermaid, just without the literal mermaid part of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.